Good day, Gappers. Today we're going to talk about Consolidated Water, Facebook, and Crown Castle International charts. First up is Consolidated Water. They're down in the Caribbean. They basically take seawater and make it drinkable for all the countries down there. The cruise ships are back. Tourism's going to grow since the whole COVID thing. They pay a 3% dividend. They didn't stop it or cut it during COVID, even though tourism had halted. They hardly have any debt, good cash on hand, and they just entered the U.S. market, I want to say in the West Coast and in Florida. So I've watched this one and played this one for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. Love the dividend. They're pretty range bound in between $10 and $16 for the most part. They break out of it every now and then. Of course, you can see here before COVID, they were like at 18. And they went all the way down to the 9s. But they're back into the range, or entering the range. You can see a pretty well-defined channel here. If you see my screen here, see that channel they were in, they broke it, they're reversing out. Looks like an uptrend is forming. One can hope. But for myself, I'm looking at the gaps in the chart. And by gaps, I mean the holes in between candles. So for this one here, it gapped down, don't know why. Not a lot of volume either. So I'm going to draw a line over here to the right because that tells me eventually the price is going to go up to 15.72 to fill this gap that was created. There's another gap here. One could argue it was filled. One could argue that it was not. It's really close. Don't see any others downstream. Maybe one, but it filled, which is good. And no gap ups on this rebound, so that's a good sign because it means it doesn't have to come back and fill any. So I really like this chart for Consolidated Water, like the company. As you can see down here at the MCAD, starting to break up. It means the uptrend is going to continue, I hope. Need the RSI to stay up, get a little hot. Stochastic's a little hot, get in a hot zone. So hopefully this one doesn't crater and go back down into a channel. Hopefully it goes and creates a channel up. I like this one. Now let's go to Facebook, or shall I say Meta. As you can see here, I put some lines in already. I'm already tracking this one. I'm already in on this one. Don't follow me, do what you want. I'm often wrong. You know how it goes. Charting back on 2 years, you can see there was a gap here that was created. You can see that the price went back up and filled it. To do so, it created a small gap here. And if you take that over, you'll notice that it did hit and it did fill at 196, something like that. So this gap has been filled down here. It gapped up here, it got filled here, it gapped up here, it obviously got filled here. There's a gap, fill, gap, fill, gap, fill. So this tells me that Facebook likes to fill the gaps. So when you see at the end here, this huge gap down, one may think to themselves, given the history of gap fills, something tells me Facebook's going to eventually fill that gap. So you got to ask yourself, well, where should I buy in? Should I buy today? Looking at other things like the MCAD and the technicals of RSI and stochastic, I would not. This is telling me we're about to bow over, run out of steam, could go sideways. I don't think this is going to continue to fall. There's no reason to. That was a pretty good hit right here. Good rebound, got a little hot. But I think it's going to fill. I actually bought somewhere down here. I don't remember. Just going to hang on to it. Given the whole metaverse picking up steam, more people are learning about it. Companies are investing in it. Nike and some other companies, even banks, I want to say, JP Morgan maybe, bought land in the metaverse, setting up shop in the metaverse. Um, Facebook with their whole VR approach a couple of years ago, trying to train people to get into VR so they can get into the metaverse. That's their roadmap. They want you to sit on your couch and go into the virtual reality world and forget about your world. You can buy things in that world. You can own things in that world, NFTs. I would say I don't recommend it, especially right now. It's too new for the metaverse for kids. You adults out there, go for it. Kids, not so much. Too many predators and crazies out there, especially when everything's new. So that's Facebook. Like the chart, I think it's going to fill. Now we're going to go to Crown Castle International. Crown Castle, for those who don't know, they own, operate, and lease over 40,000 cell towers, and they're in the fiber optics game as well. So just think infrastructure. I know the whole Trump and Biden infrastructure thing. If you want to play that, go for it. So this one I looked here, filled a gap here, filled a gap here. Just looking back, there's a small gap here, filled here. There were no gap ups from this low point of 114, which is outstanding. There's a gap here that filled. So historically, I would say this one fills gaps. And you can always see down here. So looking in the future, one might think that it could fill this gap up here at 202, and it's presently at 186. We have a strong trend happening with the MCAD and RSI, and stochastic needs to stay hot. That could potentially fill, maybe even on an earnings report. I don't know, but either way, the trend is good. I like this one. This strong reversal down here. There's a gap fill here. You can see off that low. No gap ups here, which just means this is a strong reversal. So I like this one. Crown Castle, get paid a dividend, 3%, I think. Get paid while you wait. If you think it's going to continue, you can buy in today, this week. Or if you think it's going to pull back into 180 and then continue up, I'd wait for a pullback. Either way, do what you want. Don't follow me. If this is your first time on the channel, you just got gaptized. Now hit that subscribe button and follow us on Twitter for some pics of these charts to come. Yo.